Hi guys, this is the Hub TV, the most fascinating stories. Na leo tuko streets na bado protest za anti-finance bill 2024 zinaendelea hapa, na niko na majenzi hapa, sijui maoni yao ni yepi kuhusu finance bill. Hi, mambo?
Poa sana.
Unakuita nani?
Sasha.
Okay. Na wewe?
Mimi ni Tonjenga.
Okay. Yeah. So maoni yenu ni hipi kuhusu finance bill?
I mean,
clearly we're rejecting it. There's literally no other response. We're against it. Yeah.
Kisa na maana?
It is very unjust. It is hurting the people. It is hurting the Kenyan nation. And honestly, it's just wrong. A lot of things in that bill is just wrong. Yes.
Tumeona a few MPs wakisema Jay-Z hawajasoma, mayouths hawajasoma. So uko na idea, uko na full idea nini kwa finance bill?
Niko na idea juu nimesoma. Also, I think MPs should be scared. Honestly, it's fear that is talking. Juu kama unasema hatujasoma, they are looking for other ways to bring us down, and it is an act of fear. So we have read it. That is why we are outside. Honestly, we could not be outside ignorant. One thing Gen Zs are not is ignorant.
And I think instead of trying to discredit the young people, it would serve them right to just listen. That's why those people are there. That's why we're elected, and our voice concerns the people, for example, you're representing. So these are side shows. Just focus on what they're saying, listen to what they're saying. That would be the true mark of leadership there. Yeah.
So the government in the last 9 months have used 18 billion kwa trips. Na pia wanasema hawana do. What is your take on that?
Corruption is real in Kenya. One way or another, the reason we're outside even today is because we're Christian Gen Zs, to specify that we know Jesus is the truth. And in places of corruption and in places where they're moving against of what God says, it will always come to light. So honestly, if they're stealing, it's not going to last for long. One way or another, it's going to be removed. We're going to see it, and the money that belongs to the nation will come back to the nation.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what she said, corruption is wrong, and even as they're saying they have no money, again, this tax, whatever thing that the finance bill, I mean, could be one way of raising the money, but I think the most effective way they should have started is just, for example, taking care of such corruption and such extravagant spending. Like, what would justify spending 18 billion according to what you say
in 9 months?
In 9 months, you know, what would justify that? And I think even if they were to, they should, steps, then first of all would earn them favor with the public. Show us how you are cutting down on the expenditure, show us how you're first fighting the corruption before coming and telling us that we need additional sources of revenue. You know, so like first of all, let's see what we have, let's work with what we have, let's audit and streamline what we have, which would, but none of them will do that because most of these guys have come up to their positions through corruption. So they're just, this is putting more money into a leaking bucket. Nikongeza maji kwa bucket shatoboka. So the more money we are raising, we're just giving them more opportunities and more avenues for them to rob from us, and that's why we are here just protesting this coming through here.
Do you think President William Ruto can listen to the youth on the streets?
I think he should. Not can, he should.
Yeah, he should 100% listen to, I mean, 2 weeks of, heading to the second week of protests. Sijui ni sign gani ingine kubwa anataka ndo aweze kusikiza, but he should listen to people, yeah.
And why, bona kanisa imenyamaza kwa history yote?
That's why we're here.
That is actually why we're outside. We've decided to take the step as Christians, as young Christians, to be the ones that will say the church can't be silent, and as well call out church leaders who are heading youth movements, church leaders who head big churches, church leaders who genuinely are going to be hurt if the finance bill goes through, because more taxes means less tithe. It means more people not being part of it, and it's calling out the church leaders for being silent, because it should never be that young people are the ones standing up for what we know is right, and our parents and our churches are just asleep.
Yeah, it's shameful, the silence, because there are people in those churches who are looking to them for direction. Like there are so many born again people who, even if they're not born again, who go to those churches and they are seeking to understand, for example, what God has to say and what Scripture has to say about all that we are seeing happening. So for them to be silent, that in itself is an injustice, and that is them not taking their leadership role as servants of God and as stewards of the people who God has placed under them. They're not taking that seriously, and they should. So they should speak out and have their or register sauti yao pia. Yeah, it can't only be speaking out when they. Although it's like, I feel like sometimes they speak out when it's convenient, and when it's gonna cost them, they are quiet.
Yeah.
And so even for us, we took the risk coming here as believers of being tear gassed and you know, being labeled Nikoshotapata backlash, but then let it be recorded even before the Lord, the eyes of the Lord, that we represented his heart and we carried his heart to the people correctly. Yeah.
So in the 90s we had activists from the church, for example, Timothy Joya. Nowadays, who is the Timothy Joya of our time?
Mrs. Yap.
Literally.
Yeah, Mrs. Yap.
We've stopped moving in units of one, and now we're moving as many. That's why you can't trace anything back to anyone specific, and that's why it's also a big issue where you're having thousands of people nationwide. It's not just Nairobi, nationwide, who have understood the burden and the pain that is going on in the nation, where we don't even care who's in the front lines. We really don't care what name is out there. We don't care who's being seen, for so long as our voices are being heard.
Okay, and your take on Rex Masai?
What?
Rex Masai, who was...
Man, that was unfortunate. Again, this police brutality is uncalled for. Sidhani kuna kitu itaisemekana justify vitu kaizo kuhappen, because I mean, in fact, this perhaps might be the first protest we have seen in Kenya that was genuinely peaceful. Like haikuwa bana, haikuwa PR. It was genuinely peaceful. No one was. I mean, on Thursday, no cars being burnt were reported, no businesses were stoned. It was just people just voicing their disagreement with the government, and so for them to respond the way they did, that was unfortunate. And yeah, our hearts go out to the family of Rex. Yeah.
So thank you guys for your opinion. Santi. This is the Hub TV, the most fascinating stories. See you in the next one.